If you've been asking yourself, why is it so difficult to get a job in Canada right now? As an international student, you have that high hopes, that dream. Yeah, I graduate, get a good job, get a thriving career. That usual classic Canadian success story. You land, you complete your program, and then you apply, and then you are surprised that you don't 10, 20, 50, 100 applications, and your resume goes nowhere. You try to do networking on LinkedIn, it seems as if getting that dream job, the dream is vanishing into thin air. You're left staring at your inbox, night and day, and asking yourself, why is it so difficult? When am I going to get that congratulatory message? If that frustration hits home, if you've been struggling, you seems as if you're feeling stuck, or even you think about, maybe moving here for work, you are somewhere else, another country, I would say, watch this video till the very end. Today, I'll be exposing the profound and even shocking reasons why Canada's job market is locking out even highly skilled newcomers. You think, oh, I have 5 years experience, and you come in, it seems like your experience is not valuable. It can be. There are a lot of persons that have come here with permanent residency and they're able to get a job in the area that they have studied. So in this video, I dive into the numbers, look at what are some of the barriers, what is the missing gap, or is it important for you to reevaluate your strategy? So what you will learn in the next couple of minutes will make all the difference in terms of turning your dream into reality or making that expensive mistake of applying to thousands of jobs without strategy and losing out. Now, let's look at the myth versus the reality. For years, Canada has counted as a land of endless employment opportunities, especially for skilled workers and newcomers. You hear it all around in the news. Canada need you. Canada need workers. You hear it in a lot of YouTube videos. Yeah, it sometimes seems too good to be true. But for a while, that was true. Now the population grew, especially with the increase in the number of international students. What happened to the demand for labor? That also increased. Now the narrative has shifted dramatically. Let me shock you. In 2025, in May 2025, Canada's unemployment rate climbed to 7.0%. That is the highest level in nearly 4 years, if you remove excluding the pandemic. It's even worse for those that have recently graduated. Youth unemployment is around 4.2% in May of 2025. This is not just a slight bump, it's a very significant tightening of the labor market. It keeps you wondering, am I doing something wrong? Should I be able to try something else? In fact, I've seen cases where people even move from Canada to the UK or even to the US because, yeah, there might be more job opportunities in the US. We're seeing job vacancies plummet. In the first quarter of 2025, total number of vacant positions fell to 524,300. That is an 18% decrease compared to the same period back in 2024. Simply put, there are fewer jobs that are available, and what happens? There are more people that are competing for those jobs. Now, what are some of the hidden hurdles? What do you need to do differently? And you may also ask the question, why this sudden squeeze? It is a very complex web. I've been there. I was able to scale through. I can tell you firsthand, it is a complicated system, right? Now, in this video, let's untangle some of the biggest culprits that are really making your job hunt feel like an impossible mission. Number one, the Canadian experience, the catch 22. This, I believe, is a ghost in every immigrant's job hunt. Employers often demand that Canadian experience, but the question you ask yourself is, how do you get this Canadian experience if no one is willing to hire you without it? It is a very frustrating loop. Now, back in 2025, CD Howe Institute they reported these very important statistics that employers frequently undervalue international credentials, even though you've done all your assessment, West assessment on all the other evaluation. The employers usually feel the lack of familiarity with Canadian workplace norms as a higher rating. Oh, you're not familiar with how the Canadian work system is because your experience is back in Canada. So they mostly choose the safer Canadian-born candidates. Now, it's not just about your skill. You can do the job, but the problem is the perception they have about you if you can actually do the job you're not. It's the same thing, but they're thinking, this person hasn't worked in Canada. Will this person able to, will this person be able to survive in our Canadian system? Number two is going to be overqualification and underemployment crisis. Now, Canada actively seeks highly educated immigrants, those that are coming for masters or that are coming for PhD. But then there is the lack of, I would say, facilities or processes or systems available for these educated immigrants to integrate properly. The data is heartbreaking. In 2021, only 44% of immigrants who are alive in Canada within the previous decade were employed in jobs that are matching their education level compared to 64% of Canadian-born workers, right? Especially for those that are coming with permanent residency. A lot of persons with like 5, 6, 7 years experience in their home country, when they come to the country, they switch because they're not able to get a job in the area that they have expertise on. And more starkly, over a quarter of recent immigrants, that's about 26.7%, with a bachelor's degree or higher in a position requiring only high school diploma or less. You have a bachelor's degree, graduates, and then maybe you come here as a permanent resident and you're not able to get a job in the desired area. You even graduate from a master's. Sometimes you're working in a position that only requires a diploma. More starkly, over a quarter of recent immigrants, about around 26.7% with a bachelor's degree or higher, are working in a position that require only a high school diploma or less. That's 3 times the rate of Canadian-born workers. Your qualifications are impressive, no doubt about that. But so for some reason, some of the employers are not just recognizing that your Canada, your international experience. Don't get me wrong, a lot of employers recognize that. There are just a few that don't recognize it. Number three, the shifting economic tides and trade wars. Canada's economy has been under pressure. For example, the Bank of Canada's effort to fight inflation by maintaining interest rate has slowed hiring process down. Now, in June of 2025, economists point to new obstacles. What are some of those new obstacles? Trade tensions with the US, and that is making businesses now more hesitant to even invest or hire, especially for entry-level roles, right? They're thinking, is this going to be worth it? The macroeconomic picture is directly impacting the ground level job market. Whether you like it or not, all of this, Trump and trade wars between countries, instability, the global economy is affecting it. Number four, the temporary resident tsunami and the new caps. For years, Canada saw an unprecedented growth in temporary residents. That includes international students and temporary foreign workers. Now, over a 5-year period, what happened is that international students nearly doubled to over 1 million. I can understand that this failed some growth. It's also important to it also puts some immense pressure on housing, on the infrastructure, on the job market overall, because now you have more people and it's not commensurate with the job that is available. And I believe that's the reason why the government is putting a cap to the temporary resident, including like a 10% reduction in the number of study permits for 2025 down to 437,000 from 2024's target. There's also a moratorium on low wage LMI processing in high unemployment area. That's around 6% or higher. This means that for low wage reliance on foreign workers and increased competition for jobs has increased overall. Number five, the skills mismatch dilemma. Even when there are jobs, businesses always, or I won't use the word always, but businesses report a persistent mismatch between the needs and their own needs as an employer, as a company, and the available workforce. For example, in June of 2025, CFIB report found that nearly 69% of small and medium-sized enterprises cite a shortage of qualified candidates as their primary recruitment obstacle. And if you think about it, Around 47%, they also identify a mismatch between applicant skills and the role requirement. It's not just about having skills these days, it's about having the right skills for the right job in the right place, seeing the right employer that is willing to, that is willing to employ you depending on the circumstances and the situation. But there's a realistic hope. Your action plan, okay, but that was a lot to take in. I understand this stuff is frustrating, but this isn't just about despair. This is another empowerment through information. That dream isn't dead, but you must evolve into having a lot of strategy. Here's an action plan to navigate this new reality. I've tried it, it worked for me, and I hope it also worked for you. Number one, you have to target in demand sectors and regions. Don't just apply anywhere. You need to be able to focus your effort. Areas in healthcare, pretty good demand. Um, there are other areas in IT, even the government, and some other areas still, high in demand. For example, in Alberta, in British Columbia, they had a higher job vacancy rate in March of 2025. This suggests that, yeah, there may be prospects compared to, say, province like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, which saw decline. I would say do your homework. You can be in Saskatchewan and you get a very good job. You can be in Manitoba, even Newfoundland, and you get a very good. So there is no a one side fit or, but generally some of the Manitoba, Saskatchewan, there might be lesser job opportunities even in Newfoundland compared to places like Ontario, British Columbia, or Alberta. Number two, the power of Canadian credentials and network. A Canadian degree or diploma significantly improves your labor market outcomes, right? So if you are coming as an international student, I will say as much as possible, I will reiterate this over and over again. If you can see a program that has a co-op or internship, please pick that program. This is a golden ticket that they can use to gain your Canadian experience, and I would say as much as possible, network relentlessly. As much as possible, if you can attend industry event, information interviews, reach out to people in those industry and ask them how did they get in, right? If you want to learn people, maybe somebody in the government, reach out to people in the government, in different institutions, reach out to them via LinkedIn, but just ask questions. In fact, many jobs are found through connections, not just it's advertised, right? So those connections are very important. Number three, I would say upskill and reskill strategically. The skill gap is really company are really struggling to find competence. As students, for example, those in AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, data science, IT operation. If your skills are not really aligned, I would say as much as possible, identify some of the gaps and then try to invest in if you want to do short courses, certification, even volunteer in some places to help you bridge that gap. Then you can show employers that you are adaptable and you're willing to learn. If you have one or two, voluntary in your resume, that is very advantageous to you in terms of the big picture. Number four, the hidden job market and digital presence. Many jobs are a lot of jobs are never advertised. This is what they refer to as the hidden job market. This is where your networking, your referrals, direct outreach really pays off. I would say as much as possible, optimize your LinkedIn profile to Canadian standard. You really need to make it clear, make it concise as much as possible. Include the keywords in your area. Do your research, right? Don't just apply, connect. Make sure your keyword in your resume, in your LinkedIn, it really matches what you apply for. Number five, embrace regional opportunities. Beyond the big city, major cities are saturated. Consider smaller cities, some of the rural areas, where opportunities and industries really thrive, and the competition might be lower in some of those lower, like places like Brandon and some of these lower places in New Brunswick. Yeah, the job opportunities might not be a lot, but I would say, the competition might be less, right? So think about those areas. Final thought, I would say your resilience is your superpower. Getting a job in Canada right now is very challenging. In fact, tougher than it has been in years, right? But as difficult as it is, it doesn't mean it's impossible. As I said, I scaled through it. I was able to get something. So you too can get something. It's not just about thinking about, oh, if I'm lucky, right? It's about time to embrace strategy. You need to be persistent. They need to be that unwavering commitment to understanding how does the real job market really work. That your resilience, your skills, that determination, these are going to be your greatest asset this time around. Don't let the headlines or the news defeat you. Instead, let them inform you. Yeah, of course, you need to know exactly what is happening, right? But you need to learn, you need to adapt, you need to strategize, and you need to come prepared. The Canadian success story is still waiting to be written. It might just look a little different than you first imagined, but that's about it. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section. What do you think are the biggest challenges that you face right now while looking for a job? Maybe it will be a part-time job. Share your experience in the comment section. Have you applied and it feels like, how many jobs have you applied for, right? Just let me know in the comment section. Which stage are you in your application process? Let me know. Let's build a community that really helps each other thrive in this evolving landscape. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, do it to hit the subscribe button and like this video so that whenever new videos are released, you will be the first person to get notified. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.